For the past decade, the unified government of Athens-Clarke County has been a national leader in recycling and waste reduction programs. In fact, this unique public-private sector partnership, the innovative Pay-As-You-Throw program, and the efficient recovered material processing facility have become models of effective recycling and waste reduction for municipalities throughout the country. The history of recycling in Athens-Clarke County predates the Recovered Material Processing Facility and its current acclaimed program. Coordinated recycling efforts in Athens extend as far back as 1976 and picked up steam more than 10 years later when in 1988, Athens led the state with Georgia's first municipally operated recycling program with residential curbside service. By 1990, Athens was already at the forefront of the state toward complying with the legislature's Solid Waste Management Act, which proposed a goal of reducing waste by 25% statewide. When Athens and Clarke County merged in 1991, waste management was a top priority of the newly formed municipality. As a result, the Solid Waste Citizen Advisory Committee, or SWCAC, was established to evaluate the continued development and expansion of Athens-Clarke County's solid waste reduction program.
I was one of the original members of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and we were looking at a variety of ways to bring the issues of solid waste reduction to the community and how we could address those needs.
We had two major decisions that we had to make. One of them was to develop a Subtitle D landfill, which we did, and it's completed and very successful. And secondly, to go countywide with a mandated recycling system.
One of the things that we talked about doing was, once we developed a way to collect that recycling waste stream, what then would we do with it?
What should we be doing? What was going on around the country that we might want to emulate that would make citizens in Athens-Clarke County look more at recycling? And so that's what we all did together.
We did the volume-based trash collection, and that worked. There were some complaints, but people went along with it. Then the next step would be to do something with the recyclables that we collected, and that's how the idea of the materials recovery facility came about.
Top recommendations from the advisory committee included expanding residential recycling, establishing commercial recycling services, and most importantly, creating the Recovered Materials Processing Facility.
The committee, along with key members of the staff, made a trip to Hartford, Connecticut to look at some recycling centers that were in operation. On seeing those centers and seeing the enormity of the operation, and knowing that we were a new government with limited funds, I had serious doubts about whether we should make that decision or not.
Building the $2.5 million recycling facility was a bold proposition because it involved creating a privately owned and operated facility on publicly owned county land. Some residents were skeptical, doubting that the facility would be self-sustaining. Some even dubbed the land on which it's constructed the Field of Dreams.
I was on board and an elected official just in time for the ribbon cutting of the recycling center. It has been a huge success. I think a lot of people probably questioned whether we could really make it work, but it has been a huge success, very much in part to the response, the job and the effort and determination of the Athens-Clarke County staff, the Solid Waste Department, and in particular the Recycling Division that has been headed very well by Sharon Dickerson.
Originally hired in 1991 as recycling coordinator, Sharon Dickerson served as project manager of the new comprehensive waste reduction program.
Before the recycling facility was built in 1994, we were handling materials basically on a concrete pad with concrete barriers and fencing, keeping the materials separate down at the College Avenue Solid Waste Department site. And it was difficult because we were dealing with the elements, we were dealing with having to handle the material a lot, we were only able to take a certain type of material and amount of material, so we were very limited on what types of materials we could take. We were limited on our ability to handle that material and market that material. When the recycling facility came on board in 1995, in September of 1995, it opened the doors for us. We were able to take 17 different types of materials, different grades of material, office paper, junk mail, corrugated cardboard from our residents, different types of plastics and different types of steel, now empty aerosol cans, things like that that we weren't able to handle before because we didn't have the space, we didn't have the ability or the means to truck this stuff to the markets and deal with it. Now the facility basically makes it so much easier. We can simply pick the material up from our customers, whether they be residential or commercial, deliver it to the facility in the two different areas that we have to deliver it, and then they process it and market it for us. We don't have any of those responsibilities. It's made it much easier for us. And back in the early 90s when we were considering this facility, people were dubbing it the Field of Dreams, and it has turned out that way for us. It has certainly been a field of dreams for us. It has turned into an incredible dream for Athens-Clarke County, because now instead of taking, material to the landfill, we're diverting this material to a recycling facility, we're saving money, and we're being nationally recognized for that.